A nation on edge, the 2024 election. The United States is on edge. Today, Americans decide their future. The 2024 presidential election pits Vice President Kamala Harris against former President Donald Trump. It's a rematch of historic proportions. The nation is deeply divided. Political tensions are high. The stakes have never been higher. Both candidates represent starkly different visions for America. Harris, a Democrat, promises unity and progress. Trump, a Republican, campaigns on a platform of nationalism and a return to greatness. The election will determine the direction of the country for years to come. This election is about more than just politics. It's about fundamental values. It's about the economy, healthcare, climate change, and social justice. It's about the soul of America. Voters are faced with a monumental decision. Their choice will shape the future. Tonight, all eyes are on America. The world watches and waits for the outcome of this pivotal election. The results will have far-reaching consequences, both domestically and globally. The future hangs in the balance. The final countdown, Trump and Harris rally support. As the election day loomed closer, both camps intensified their efforts to secure every possible vote. The final hours of the campaign were a flurry of activity. Campaign headquarters buzzed with energy as volunteers tirelessly made phone calls, sent out last-minute mailers, and organized events to galvanize support. Both candidates crisscrossed the country, desperate to sway undecided voters. They boarded planes, traveled in motorcades, and made appearances in key battleground states, hoping to tip the scales in their favor. Rallies were held, speeches were made, and promises were offered. Each event was meticulously planned to maximize impact, with candidates delivering impassioned speeches to rally their base and attract undecided voters. The energy was palpable, the tension almost unbearable. Supporters from both sides gathered in large numbers, their faces a mix of hope, determination, and anxiety. Trump, a master showman, drew massive crowds at his rallies. His events were grand spectacles filled with fervent supporters waving flags and chanting slogans. His message resonated with his base, who cheered his every word. They believed in his vision and were eager to see him continue his leadership. He painted a picture of America in decline, a nation in need of his leadership to reclaim its former glory. His rhetoric was powerful, tapping into the fears and hopes of his supporters. His supporters believe he is the only one who can make America great again. They held up signs, chanted his name, and expressed unwavering loyalty. Harris, known for her sharp intellect and calm demeanor, focused on a message of hope and unity. She spoke with conviction, addressing the nation's challenges and offering solutions grounded in empathy and inclusivity. She appealed to voters' better angels, urging them to reject division and embrace a shared future. Her speeches were filled with calls for unity, justice, and progress. Her rallies were more subdued than Trump's, but no less passionate. The atmosphere was one of thoughtful engagement, with supporters deeply invested in her vision for the country. Her supporters see her as a beacon of progress and a symbol of a more inclusive America. They believed in her ability to bring about meaningful change and were inspired by her leadership. The final polls showed a race that was too close to call. Analysts and pundits debated the potential outcomes, with many predicting a nail-biting finish. The outcome would likely hinge on a handful of key states. These battlegrounds were fiercely contested, with both campaigns pouring resources into winning over voters. Both campaigns remained optimistic, but the tension was palpable. As results began to trickle in, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged, with supporters on edge. The fate of the nation rested on a knife's edge. Every vote counted, and the world watched with bated breath as America decided its future. The waiting game, vote counting, and potential delays. As the polls closed, the nation held its breath. The long process of counting votes began. With an unprecedented number of mail-in ballots due to the pandemic, delays were anticipated. Patience became the order of the day. Although anticipation and anxiety were high, election officials worked tirelessly to count every vote accurately. The eyes of the world were on them, scrutinizing every move. The integrity of the election was paramount. Transparency was crucial to maintain public trust in the democratic process. However, concerns about potential irregularities and legal challenges loomed large. Both campaigns assembled legal teams, ready to pounce on any discrepancies. The specter of a contested election, a nightmare scenario for American democracy, cast a shadow over the proceedings. The wait for results was agonizingly slow. News outlets urged caution, reminding viewers that every vote must be counted. Social media buzzed with speculation, misinformation, and partisan bickering. The nation remained on edge, bracing for what the future might hold. Section 4. Swing States. The battlegrounds that decide it all. As expected, the election came down to a handful of swing states. These battleground states, with their large number of electoral votes, held the key to the White House. The candidates had poured resources and energy into winning over voters in these crucial states. Pennsylvania, Florida, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and North Carolina were also considered up for grabs. In these pivotal states, the candidates' messages resonated differently with different demographics. Trump's populist message resonated with working-class voters who felt left behind by globalization and economic change. Harris's message of unity and progress appealed to younger voters and those who valued diversity and inclusion. The fate of the nation rested on the shoulders of voters in these swing states. Their decisions would determine the outcome of the election and shape the future of American politics. Section 5. The Electoral College, a system under scrutiny. The Electoral College, the uniquely American system for electing presidents, was once again thrust into the spotlight during the recent election cycle. This system, designed by the Founding Fathers, has been the subject of much debate and controversy throughout American history. It was created as a compromise between electing the president by a vote in Congress and electing the president by a popular vote of qualified citizens. Under the Electoral College, each state is assigned a certain number of electors based on its population. This means that states with larger populations have more electoral votes, while smaller states have fewer. In most states, the candidate who wins the popular vote receives all of that state's electoral votes. This winner-takes-all approach can lead to significant disparities between the popular vote and the electoral vote. To win the presidency, a candidate must secure a majority of the 538 electoral votes. This means that a candidate needs at least 270 electoral votes to win. Critics argue that the Electoral College is undemocratic and can result in a candidate winning the presidency without winning the popular vote, as happened in 2016, when Trump lost the popular vote but won the presidency. This has led to calls for reform or even abolition of the Electoral College. Proponents argue that it protects the interests of smaller states and prevents candidates from focusing solely on large urban areas. They believe that the Electoral College ensures a more balanced representation of the entire country. The 2024 election highlighted the complexities and potential pitfalls of the Electoral College. The close race and the distribution of electoral votes brought the system under intense scrutiny once again. The possibility of a candidate winning the presidency without winning the popular vote loomed large, raising questions about the fairness and legitimacy of the system. As the nation continues to grapple with these issues, the debate over the Electoral College is likely to persist, with strong arguments on both sides. Ultimately, the future of the Electoral College remains uncertain. Whether it will be reformed, abolished, or maintained in its current form, it will continue to be a central topic in discussions about American democracy and the electoral process. As the nation moves forward, the importance of understanding and engaging with the Electoral College system cannot be overstated. It is a critical component of the American political landscape, shaping the way presidents are elected and reflecting the complexities of the nation's democratic ideals. Section 6. The stakes are high potential outcomes and their impact. The upcoming election is a pivotal moment in American history, with the potential to shape the nation's future in profound ways. The potential outcomes of the election were as varied as the American people themselves. Each voter, with their unique background and perspective, contributes to the rich tapestry of American democracy. Each candidate offered a distinct vision for the future, with profound implications for domestic and foreign policy. These visions were articulated through passionate speeches, heated debates, and extensive campaigns that reached every corner of the nation. The stakes could not be higher. The intensity of the political atmosphere reflected the gravity of the decisions at hand, with every vote carrying significant weight. A Harris victory would likely usher in an era of progressive policies. Her administration would focus on addressing systemic inequalities and promoting social justice. Climate change would take center stage, with a renewed focus on renewable energy and environmental protection. This shift could lead to significant investments in green technology and sustainable practices. Healthcare would be expanded and social justice reforms would be high on the agenda. This could mean broader access to medical services and a concerted effort to address racial and economic disparities. Internationally, Harris would likely take a more multilateral approach, emphasizing diplomacy and cooperation. This could strengthen alliances and foster global partnerships to tackle common challenges. A Trump victory, on the other hand, would signal a continuation of his America First agenda. His policies would likely focus on bolstering national interests and maintaining a strong, independent stance on the world stage. Immigration restrictions would likely tighten, and trade policies would continue to favor American businesses. This could impact the economy and the workforce in significant ways. Social issues, such as abortion and gun control, would likely be addressed through a conservative lens. This could lead to changes in legislation and shifts in societal norms. Internationally, Trump would likely pursue a more unilateral approach, prioritizing American interests above all else. This could result in a more assertive foreign policy and potential changes in international relations. The potential ramifications of either outcome were vast and far-reaching. The direction chosen by the electorate would set the course for the nation's future, influencing every aspect of American life. The election was not just about choosing a president, it was about choosing a direction for the country. The collective decision of the voters would reflect their hopes, fears, and aspirations for the future. The decisions made today would have a lasting impact on generations to come. The policies enacted and the paths chosen would shape the world that future generations inherit, making this election a truly historic moment.